A common argument from leftists is that economic agents are not rational, or more broadly, markets are not rational. And therefore, they say that the government should intervene. Are economic agents rational? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'll explain. The common argument is that free markets, or markets in general, are based on people choosing to act rationally. We must have rationality for markets to work. That's their argument. Now, frankly, I don't know whoever posited this notion to begin with. I haven't researched it, but it doesn't matter. That's what's being argued now, that you must have rationality for markets to work. Well, I've been studying economics for 35 years or so, and I can tell you it's just not a thing. It's only a thing from the left where they argue this notion. The real answer is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people uh, are rational. So even the mainstream economists, who I usually disagree with on most things, understand this point correctly. Well, there is some contention, not contention, there is different views on it, but many in mainstream economics understand and argue the very things that I would argue and that I'll argue now. First, people don't have to be rational for markets to work. First of all, it's clear markets work if you let them. Since the Industrial Revolution, we've by and large had markets in the Western world, and look what it's gotten us. So, however rational or irrational people are, markets do work. And so, okay, let's say people aren't completely rational, and I would agree, often they're not. But they generally make the best decisions for themselves and for their lives than anyone else could make for them. By and large, they do a pretty good job, and have a pretty good degree of success. That's why we have a flourishing uh, economic world in the West and now in most other countries to a large degree. So you don't have to be rational. You just have to be relatively rational. You have to be relatively smart, have an idea of how you can benefit, know what you need for your life, understand how to produce, how to think, how to calculate at a basic level, or how to follow instructions from your employer. And and certainly the employers are pretty rational by and large. They have an idea of what needs to be produced, what would be successful. They, by and large, manage to run companies that are profitable and not incur losses, which indicates that they're pleasing consumers, that they're producing and selling a product that is in demand, that people want and need. So that's an indicator that irrationality, to the extent that it exists, is okay. It's fine. Now, the biggest argument I would have, which mainstreamers also have, is that, okay, if people are not rational, why do you think it's better to have government politicians who have no stake in anything to take control and intervene? Do you think they're rational? If people are rational, aren't politicians people also? Are they not irrational as much as the rest of us are irrational? Why do you think politicians, practical game show hosts who get elected by lying and cheating and stealing and deceiving, why are they more rational than the rest of us? Why do you think they're going to intervene and improve upon things? And further, more importantly, why do you think they have the incentive to? It's not their money at stake, it's yours. They're siphoning off money for themselves. Politicians live off of our money. They don't create anything, they don't produce anything. They live off of our money. So, why do you think they're going to do something more rational and have an incentive to fix things and make things better than we are. And why do you think they have the knowledge to? They don't know anything. They're virtual game show hosts that we give the power to run our economy and control our lives. They don't anymore know what to do better than we do to save their lives. Then, thirdly, it's commonly argued in mainstream economics that, okay, irrational people, let's say they make mistakes, well, they'll they'll net out. Uncorrelated mistakes tend to offset each other in the aggregate. And so you'll have some hits, you'll have some misses, it'll net out, it'll be fine. And the fact is, that's a valid argument. Look at the world around you. As I said, we're pretty successful overall. And that's considering that we've had these nitwit politicians intervening and controlling and trying to improve upon things the whole time, i.e., they've been interfering and making things worse and more difficult and making it more difficult to produce and be successful the whole time. So, in short, it's stupid for the left to argue that markets are not rational and something should be done about them. It's obvious that all they're saying is they're jealous, they can't stand the marketplace, they can't stand competition, they want to steal, they want to be given control over everyone's lives, and so they should, because markets are not rational. No, it's a false argument.